6 more weeks until 2020. But look, we're not rushing through 2019. Let's take a moment and let's savor every last minute. Hello again. My name is Tanisha Pugh, and I'm one of the lead counselors with Arise and Live Christian Counseling, alongside my handsome, remarkable husband of 17 years. We are proud parents of 7 dynamic gifts, and if life didn't make us believers, they most certainly did in the best possible way. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to go through this as quickly as I possibly can. I would like to discuss 6 principles over the remaining 6 weeks in 2019. My hope is that some of these will be beneficial to you as you start to plan or goal plan for 2020. I won't discuss all 6 in this video. This video will just be on one. And the first of the 6 is a challenge for you to rid yourself of unproductive and harmful comparisons. So, let's talk about what comparison is and what it looks like when it plays out in yours and my mind. Firstly, the action of comparison is one that happens and it takes place as an automatic brain process. It's something that happens in a snap. According to psychologists, it happens in milliseconds. So again, a snap. A comparison takes place when we identify a targeted standard, and then we assess our abilities, our looks, our failures, our achievements, our worldviews, and ways of living based on the standard established by that target. Often, this is another person who our target is. The information we conclude from that targeted standard then inform how we see ourselves, and that informs our behavior. Comparison, though, in and of itself, and I want you to know this, it's not a bad thing, because as human beings, we compare ourselves to know where we stand so we can evaluate ourselves and make necessary adjustment to improve. The piece about comparison that I do want you to grab a hold of is who and or what are we comparing ourselves to? Secondly, what behavior does that information encourage in you? And lastly, is this a relevant comparison to who we are and who we're striving to become? Since comparison is an automatic process, it usually happens in response to our ideals, what things should be in a perfect world, whether it's beauty, intelligence, spiritual or physical success. A life-producing comparison cannot solely be based on a subjective target, because things that are subjective, well, they're vulnerable to inaccuracies, to inconsistencies, and to certain biases. As born-again believers, we need an objective target. An objective target is sound, and it's rooted in pure truth. And our objective target, friends, is the Word of God. In it, we have every standard that are instructed to measure, and we are instructed to measure ourselves according to the truths the Word presents. We seek to compare ourselves to people when we either don't accept or we don't know what the objective standard is. And Corinthians 10 verse 12 has something to say about that. It says plainly, when we measure ourselves by one another and compare ourselves with one another, we are without understanding. The King James Version says that we are unwise. As a servant of Jesus Christ, I want to know what his standards are for me. To compare myself to the standards set by a man would directly conflict with my goal to be a servant of Jesus Christ. It's true. You can find that support in Galatians chapter 1, verse 10. For example, if you struggle with self-esteem issues, the answer is never going to be for you to compare yourself to other people. That will just make things worse. Instead, use the Word of God as your objective standard and implement self-esteem exercises that will strengthen your self-esteem brain pathways. Start with some scriptures, take those scriptures from the Bible on the topic, on any topic that you're struggling with, and sow them in your heart and have those replace those negative self-talk that we often tell ourselves about ourselves, those things we say, right? Here are a few scriptures that can help with self-esteem. God created you in his image according to Genesis 1:27. God said, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, according to Psalms 139 and verse 14. God calls you his child, according to John 1:12. You are known by God. You are not lost. This is found in Jeremiah 1:5. 1 Peter 2:9 says, you are chosen. You are a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession. Know that you have purpose and that you're special to God, and let that be a starting point for any comparisons. Please take that to heart. I hope that really sinks in for you. Can people inspire us and cause us to aim higher and to grow? Well, absolutely. But they shouldn't be our initial and sole source of comparison. Our target is Jesus Christ and His Word. So, in closing, here are some reflective questions I'd like you to consider. The first one is, who have you been comparing yourself to? Is that person a worthy target? Is there a better reference biblically? Is there someone else that we can maybe look at? What do you usually conclude after comparing yourself? Do you feel motivated to improve, to change, or maybe do you feel sad, discouraged, and withdrawn? I want you to use the answers to those questions to help you determine what comparisons need to be discarded as you plan for 2020. Well, next week we'll discuss removing the limits. Thank you so much for listening, for watching. Please leave any comments or questions below, and I hope you have a terrific week. God bless you. Bye-bye.